All right, so it's week 3 of New York Music Month. I'm now walking into an event at Chelsea Table and Stage on 26th Street in Manhattan. And we're going to be talking about your narrative and your brand. And I think the theme is sort of scaling up from do-it-yourself levels to real global scale. So I'm very curious to see how it applies to me. Yeah, let's see what happens. It's very colorful in here. Alrighty, well, the event is over. I'm headed off to record some more music. You saw it was kind of dark. I couldn't really film that much, and the talk was pretty short. It was actually just a panel. Nothing was incredibly memorable. I was talking with some artists afterwards, people that I already ran into in other events. That it was focused towards people who, want to do PR as their thing, not like artists who want to understand PR. I don't know. It was like, yeah, there's really special connections inside Publicist Engine that are actually pretty compelling, pretty interesting, rather than just this sort of faceless, try and be the lowest common denominator, catch people's attention on social media. I have this very cynical take. It's whatever you can do to stop people from scrolling, that's PR now. And that's not really true. What's interesting is that, they were talking a lot about traditional media, newspapers, print. Maybe not actual newspaper, but digital version of the New York Times. And I always, and Pitchfork, and I always just wonder how valuable that is now. There was a part of the talk that was really interesting that was sort of pointing to the fact that music is important. Like, the music itself is important, but you as a musical artist probably have many facets, and something that the publicists on the panel do, one specifically was saying that we try and understand who you are, like what you like. If you like sports, if you like if you like, architectural design, we'll get you on whatever platform likes that. And maybe that's an entry point to then get to this talk about music. TR as this thing that's sort of about you, the person, not your music, which is sort of dovetailing with all of the vibes I've been getting from all these talks that, music isn't this thing we're selling and making money off of. Because you don't sell physical records, it's merch, or it's the experience, or it's the whatever. Then you gotta put something in there, the merch or the experience, that makes it it makes it worth their while. It does acknowledge that people are multifaceted. I don't just play the guitar, Oh geez, I'm so late. Spent way too much time editing. Alright, today is the first and only New York Music Month doubleheader. Thank goodness, because man, even just one of those events takes it out of you. But right now I'm walking through down underneath Manhattan Bridge Overpass, Dumbo. Go to an event called Music Publishing 101, which is something I ought to learn more about. I already know a little bit about it because I took a course in a university, but I ought to know a little bit more, considering I'm going to start a job at a music publishing company in like 2 weeks. So I'm very late though. Inside a very nondescript office space. All kinds of startups. Here we go. That looks like the ticket. Yep, that's the right spot. All right, so that was event number one of the day. After I got my lunch, or my early dinner, because it's like 5:30, I'm off to the next event. That was interesting. They did talk shop about the real 101 of music publishing. What's the difference between a song's composition and the master recording, stuff like that, which is really fundamental. But also they had a gentleman in there who was doing stuff with sync and the nuances of what it takes to get the song placed, and it was very interesting. Like most sync placements are instrumental, so that's cool. I didn't realize that. I assumed that, but I didn't like fully realize that. Yeah, and a whole bunch of nuances related to sync, and also a bunch of nuances about how outdated our laws are, and how there are certain things that we don't do in the US, like give performance royalties for sound recordings, which sounds very obvious. If you didn't write the song and the song gets played on the radio a bunch, you don't get royalties for it. All these little things, you know. All right, so I'm here on 6th Street and 4th Avenue in Gowanus, or Park Slope, or whatever you want to call it. About to show up late to my second event in a row. So, the title of this event is The Music Industry in 2036, Where Will We Be? Which is a really great question that I have no idea, but I guess the point is to try and find out. Let's see what they say. This is the talk that I think I know the least how it's gonna go. Cool thing about this part of town is that your venue is just right next to a bunch of warehouses and a U-Haul facility. All right, it's like 2 in the morning. I was meaning to film or record my thoughts about the second talk of this doubleheader day. Right after is really fresh in my mind, but I had to rush off. Anyway, long story. So sorry if this is terrible quality, but yeah, really interesting talk. A really divergent set of thoughts about what the future is going to be, from everything's going to change to actually we're going to want to resist change, which I thought that was kind of the theme of the whole talk. So accepting change versus resisting change, and what it means to do that. One thing I came away with is that the attribution of works, the citing of works, and these questions of licensing and fair use, and the whole discussion is incredibly pertinent. And that's something I'm really interested in and trying to figure out. One of the speakers, Benji, runs this company, Surreal AI, which just sold to Warner, which is about, trying to solve that attribution problem, which I'm still trying to figure out. If these models are just numbers, if stuff is just numbers, how do we actually hear that it's you in there, the ghost in the machine? Run out of time to talk about these things, but I'm gonna marinate on them, and I'll let you know. All right, it's Wednesday, June 17th. We're gonna be learning about building a sustainable music career. I had to record this twice now, so I forgot what I said. Well, it's the name of the game, is building a sustainable music career, collecting all the revenue streams you can. Cross your T's, dot your I's, register with the PRO, register with your MLCs, register with everything. Keep on top of things. Yeah, but I'm curious to see what else we talk about. Yesterday I went to this tech-oriented event. What will the music industry look like in 2036? Which there was some talk about, you know, is there gonna be a new copyright structure, a new code, a new patch to the copyright system? And the consensus was no. Consensus was no, that we're not gonna have a new copyright code or a new edition, but we're gonna find something inside the existing code, which is, I guess, that's what's been happening, I guess, for a while. And yeah, there's some serious problems about attributing the work that people do to the right people, and making sure that money doesn't just go to the same 5 or 6 companies or same 5 or 6 record labels. And the month is almost over. I've signed up for like 2 more events. One is tomorrow and one is like next week. So yeah, this is sort of winding down, sort of collecting my thoughts. Yeah, in general, this has been a very inspiring event. This has inspired me to, you know, think about my own work, myself, just like give myself a little bit more credit. You sell what you have to offer, and you know, if you think you have something to offer, then go for it. That's sort of this whole thing. I'm gonna stop talking and head inside.
He wears this man.
The Irish spelling is with a C.
Yes.
It means party.
Yeah.
All right, so I just left the talk, how to build a sustainable music career and collect all revenue streams. Turns out it is a book, and I bought a copy, and yeah, I'm not often convinced to buy books sort of directly from, you know, I like going to a bookstore and, you know, sitting and reading the book, but seems like her talk was so earnest, and the responses from people who really knew, who are sort of they're already industry insiders and already knew how valuable the advice she was giving was. I was like, I have to buy this. It felt right. Yeah, really dense and important talk. And there's some, you know, fundamental things that she says that people still get wrong. People who were not even super young like myself still were learning stuff. A great experience. Like, I kind of started to get antsy. Like, towards the end, I was like, oh shit, I actually have a lot of stuff to do. And some of it is like really achievable. Like, it's not all like, get 1 million followers and, you know, post 3 zillion things a day. And it's like, there's some really achievable things. Yeah, so I was like, oh man, I gotta leave right now. But no, I stuck around till the end. And now I'm gonna see how much I can get done. Mixers, or I don't even know what this is. Man, I gotta get hip. We're out here, Johnson Avenue in Bushwick, maybe? Showing my lack of knowledge of New York. We're heading to Elsewhere. Elsewhere is a famous, popular club. We're not gonna go clubbing at 4 in the afternoon. No, we have the last event, or pretty much the last event for this week of New York Music Month, called Transmissions, plugging into the electronic music sector. Now, in one of these nondescript corrugated metal facades is the front of, it's actually across the street. I'm gonna go in there. I'm very late. Yeah.
Just to sum it up, it's important to have a source, core case. Creativity must be defined before it goes into the machine. We can explain that later.
Technology. So by early stage, for anyone who is an investor, VC, anyone in that world, pre-seed stage specifically. So we look at, you know, non-traditional companies.
All right, just left. I didn't stick around. It was a great talk. I stuck around just for one, because my friend Ricky was doing a talk about the big AI, which was really interesting. It's really nice to hear this room of people that are very, you know, obviously, you know, they're tech-minded, they're forward-looking, but they say, you know, yeah, music is human, and we got to figure out how. There's 2 problems. Like, if we're licensing stuff, right now it's only what music goes into AI, but, you know, what about the output? There's no monetizing of that. That's like really tricky, because sometimes we don't even know, and we don't even know how the models really work at all. That's called mechanistic interpretability, but that's a whole nother video. Maybe I'll have to do some research on that. It's how we figure out who did what, and then how the money gets to the people, and the appropriate amount of money for artists, so it can keep being sustainable and music, you know, keeps being human. Yeah, a lot to think about. And chatted with some people working on tech stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting. Maybe it's more interesting to me than I thought. There's less people who are actual musicians, question mark? Are there, you know, less people who are actual musicians in it than I realize. It's a valuable perspective. I think people actually really appreciate it. I gotta go take the subway now. I don't even have to tell you where I am, because you probably already recognize these trees, because we're back, going back to Berkeley, NYC, for, I think, a record-breaking 4th time. Has to be a record for someone who doesn't even go to the school or work there, or I don't know. It just feels like a lot to me. Today's event is the final one, which is called Capturing NYC Community Music. And I think it's a panel. I'm not really sure what capturing means, but I'm a fan of NYC community and music, and I'm guessing all of those things together are gonna be a fun time. So this is the last New York Music Month event. I've been giving my thoughts and voiceover this whole time, but probably gonna have a lot of things to say. I feel like my mentality has totally changed.